Like Big Man Lol has always the entire goal was just to be like a channel I would realistically make if I was like 4 or not 4, but like and
Four.
with interesting internet doing insane like better than you could ever imagine for some reason. Like and I still grind shorts on Big Man Lol just to see like what happens because I obviously like you can't, even if it's annoying, you can't ignore that it's what works. And that's also what sucks.
Yeah.
Is you basically have to do things you don't want to do at this point because it's what's gonna work. And there's a certain understanding now that is
Yeah.
just the nature of everything now that we're at.
Yeah. Like I know I'm gonna have to do some shit, but like God forbid you'll never like see me like going on TikTok and making a fucking fool out of myself while saying, "Hey, check out my new song as well." You'll never see me do that.
And I will also never like I'll obviously post the clips to
Yeah.
TikTok, but and the reason for that
Yeah.
isn't even like mostly to grow. It's mostly for the TikTok. Just been because I post only like the funny clips because it's like I think this is funny. I kind of want to someone else to see this as well.
Yeah.
And that's mostly what it's always been about. Is like because because I feel like a lot of Big Man Law has never had a point. Like the videos, there's no goal, there's no end goal to them. It's always just been this is a video that there's funny moments with friends. Like that's always what it's been about.
Yeah.
Like the first video, like even like season 2 of Big Man Law being the season 2 Big Man Law being when the SMP started. That was always like those were hour-long recordings cut down to like 20 minutes of just the funny moments. Like it was never like a Minecraft Let's Play. Like you didn't have to pay attention to what was happening. It was just we are playing Minecraft and these funny things are happening as well.
Yeah.
Like, that was always the goal. And then like I think epic and funny Minecraft moments, or my friends are funnier too, really set that in stone and really gave like the old style back to what I wanted. And then there's
Yeah.
obviously and the thing about like and it would always be my regret of uploading the YouTube short like reaction video to the main channel. It wasn't even because I was like because I thought it was a good video. I knew it was a terrible video and I hated it. But it was like there was some sort of understanding that I think this could actually do well. It would suck for that to be on the second like the live channel like it was intended to be on.
Yeah.
I took the risk and it failed horribly, but I mean I do like I don't think like I tried on that video obviously, but like it wasn't just made because like while making the video I was like whatever, this will be funny. It was never because I thought this is how to get views 101, because that's never obviously been the goal.
Yeah. No.
And then you obviously have like and it's weird with like the recent Big Man Law stuff, which kind of feels very scummy, which isn't my intention. It's just genuinely like I played Five Nights at Freddy's on the anniversary because that was coincidence. I played Five Nights at Freddy's and was like, oh, the anniversary's coming up. I can upload it then instead.
Yeah.
And then Security Breach video was because that was right when the speed stuff happened. So I was like, okay, I kind of have to do this. That was just for my own personal humor. Like I don't even care if that joke was got by anyone. It was just I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Oh, what's going on? I just thought all train of thought. I had something to say and I just forgot it. I forgot what I was gonna say. What's going on?
I don't know.
Why did the only meaningful conversation happen right after the podcast?
Who knows, man? Who knows? But
We've only talked about like Poe.
But
Poe.
I think Mafaf 3 doing well kind of says a lot because the thumbnail is literally just the picture of what we were talking about in text, basically saying this was funny. And then the
Yeah, this is
and then
funny.
like the title wasn't even like it was barely a title. Like that was a placeholder at best. And then it's what stuck and what worked for some reason. And which I think is, I don't know, it feels like maybe a sense of like it was very straightforward. And I feel like there's like this understanding now that like um I don't know how to explain it, but like people watching can, I feel like it's now they can tell if something is like made to get views. Like I upload cringing at TikToks and it's like okay, or it's like clear like yeah, that's just reactions are in right now, you're just doing that. But then
Yeah,
I do like this picture was funny, haha, and then a bad thumbnail, and it's like this pops off, or like Danny, or like the Danny
yeah,
Gonzalez. Like I think that like the simple stuff is always what popped off for some reason. And I think, and then it obviously sucks that the Mario 64 video did bad, but a random YouTube short that I uploaded that was, which I still don't even understand my thought process behind making in the first place.
uh-huh.
Like that does insanely well compared to anything I've ever done on the channel.
Right.
But and then the balloons video, like there's so much stuff that just randomly pops off, and like it's no longer been a point of like I were, because I've finally developed the understanding of it's not. I don't. If I do the same thing over and over, that's not what's gonna work. It's just it is completely random, and I finally developed that understanding of anything. Like I have to put basically 110 effort into anything because anything could just pop off at random at this point.
Yeah, I mean, name the amount of countless times where the most random thing that someone posted on a channel that doesn't post anymore just randomly popped up. Like the skin theory video is actually a very good example of
That's a
this.
perfect
Actually,
example. It's like, yeah, there was
yeah,
like I don't think there was any tags. It was just a video. Like, yeah, that was I think the best example of that. It's a channel that doesn't even upload anything.
yeah,
Made this one video because they felt like it, and it did insanely well because it was a good video.
yeah.
And I've rewatched that a couple. Like video essays, I genuinely want season 4 to just to be video essays at a certain point, and like I want to get rid of the monthly upload schedule, and it just be like video essays. The only thing about that is I'm terrible at writing scripts. Like I know what I want to talk about, I just am bad at like putting into words ever. Like I'm so sure I could somehow make a video about, like I have that one video essay that I was working on that I was getting a bunch of sources for, but I just never did anything with because I just never got around to it.
Damn, damn.
And then there's also the whole thing of it's like the fear of it could completely flop.
Yeah, that's a sad reality. But then again, there's also the weird chance that like 2 years later that video is just like, hey
That
guys, I'm here, and you're
that
just
is
like, oh,
true, and that is also why I will randomly change thumbnails of old videos because it's like I understand anything can pop off. It doesn't matter.
which I'm just praying that the older videos with me in it does not pop off.
The only videos I'm interested in popping off are like I guess anything from season 3 because season 2 and 1 for some reason pop off a lot. Actually no, season 2 I don't think had any pop offs. I think
No, no.
it's only been season 1 randomly and then mostly season 3, which I'm glad because season 3 is the only actual good effort videos. Like
Yeah.
I'm so glad the sitcoms videos is the top 5 most viewed because I would like actually have ended my life if it wasn't. And it's most because I pushed that video hard because I was like, there was a sense of like, if this doesn't do well, it's actually gonna make me hate everything and hate this platform.
Uh, uh, yeah. Um.
Yes.
Um. Fuck. I keep forgetting.
And then there's also the thing of me losing my footage that one time that was detrimental and like made me almost
Oh yeah.
completely just give up on everything Big Man Law
Open like
related.
Open mic video be like I feel like ahead of me.
Like that could have like unironically been the end of Big Man Lol if I really just.
Fuck.
I do think the monthly upload schedule was a way better decision though than uploading whenever.
I remember one time I had an hour long video for Black Jesus. And this was probably the most ambitious thing I've ever done. But I don't know how this happened. This is the only time where I had luck, like your bad luck happened to me. Where in the midst of uploading, this was before I did the whole verification thing for Black Jesus. So like you can post long videos.
Yeah.
Um, and it gave me that error. So I was like, oh, funny. All right then. And I don't know why, but like, okay, power outage happened. I'm like, oh, okay. I opened back up my PC. Everything's fine. I did the verification thing. All was well. And then, I uploaded the video. Actually, no, I tried to upload the video, and it gave me another error, which I don't remember what the error was, but it was not an error that I've never seen before. And again, I did the verification thing again. So I was like, okay, that's super weird. So I try to re-upload it again, and in the file, I don't know what could have occurred. I don't know if it was a power outage. I don't know if that was my PC being weird because this was around the time when I had like 3 viruses on my computer that I was just not aware of.
Awesome.
So I don't know if that virus somehow corrupted the file, but but the file just randomly became zero kilobytes.
Of course.
Just no data. It was a nun pizza with left beef, but with no beef left beef either.
Yeah, basically.
It was distraughting.
Which
It was
yeah,
distraughting.
it's terrible. It's worse when it's like a long thing being taken because like
Yeah.
was that in like edited or was it unedited? Like what was it?
Oh yeah, it was edited. Like I actually, that was one of the videos I actually put effort in.
What does
And I
that
didn't.
mean? Don't you
And
still
I
have like
didn't
the
edit it
original
with like
file
Movie
though?
Maker.
The editing file?
Huh?
Wouldn't you have like the editing file?
It was like I made an MP4 because for some reason my dumbass just did not save files in the program files where like I actually edited and stuff.
Womp womp.
I just exported as MP4, so like there's no salvaging it back.
Um, I think there's been so much that I've lost probably that I can't even remember at this point.
So much. There was one video I had where it's it was a whole lore video like about like 10 minutes. It was a whole lore video about this a mob gangster family that I made up in my mind one night, and I think I was just watching Jay Station to make this whole lore thing up. Um, um, and I asked the background music because you know I always have background music in my videos, and I used Blackbird by the Beatles, and well because it's the Beatles, of course it's going to be super copyrighted.
Yeah.
But what I was not expecting was for it to be, because it's super copyrighted, for the whole video to just not be able to be uploaded at all because it was just blocked worldwide because of the Beatles music in the background.
Mm.
So like all my like writing went down the drain, and Hood News is just incomplete.
That reminds me of like the Left for Dead video, which was so close to becoming lost media.
Oh God.
Because when I because of so much that went on while trying to like make it, when I was trying to do the like, because there was one method of editing that I used where it just didn't work for some reason, and then there was another one where it rendered the entire 5 hours, but as a black screen for some reason, and also out of order. Um, so and then we finally were able to figure it out because the issue was I
Yeah.
flat out couldn't do it on my phone. Like the idea, because it was I didn't have an editing software on my computer at that point. So the idea was I could
Mhm.
just put it on my phone because I have a software on that sucks, but it would be good enough for what we needed it for.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that. It was too much storage to have on there at once. So
Yeah.
so we just so it was so close to just there being nothing we could do, and
Which
then
I've been so sick.
which would have been because that's 5 hours of a really like a bunch of funny stuff that happened, and that was almost
It's
lost.
still my favorite video.
And then Mario 64 video actually happening is a miracle because like me editing 6 hours is unheard of. Like, and it so what carried that video I think was the fact was I edited it all on my phone, which isn't hard to believe, but it was the fact it was because I would do it in like the middle of classes if I had the chance. I'd pull out my headphones and just start working on it. But I had
Fucking me too.
and so that was
Mhm.
basically the reason that because if I had to do it on my computer, I would have killed myself before that video like finished because it would have been way too much because of how laggy the editing is on my computer and just how bad my computer is in general. Like editing
Yeah.
6 hours of footage, like odds are that video would have been super short because I wouldn't have bothered to like actually look through it. I would have just like skipped through it, found something that was funny,
Yeah.
and then just done and worked with that. But
Hmm.
because I had an actual like functioning method, I was able to actually try,
Yeah.
which I think carried that. Which I really want to rematch that game. I want to try it again.
We could have a What's Up My Ninja too.
We could, which that clip I think is still awesome. I just wish I wasn't talking over it. And the issue I think is, which I think has always been an issue in videos that I just never noticed until recently, is I think our audio is delayed. Like I think I hear your audio before OBS picks up your audio.
Uh,
Because there are times where like we say something and in real life we said it at the same time, but in the video we don't, which is really weird. Because like in the Call of
uh,
Duty video, we both asked if we could tame the dogs at the same time, but in the video it sounds like you copied me.
oh no.
Or like in I think there's a clip in something else where I say something. Oh yeah, it was in my FAF 3. I say something and before I finish it, you repeat it back because that's how you, like whenever I say something, you sometimes repeat it. I hadn't finished saying it
Yeah.
yet, and then you already repeated what I said, which is kind of when I realized that there is some
That
off
was
sync.
funny.
There's something off sync going on here that I mean, it isn't too noticeable. It's never been that bad. The most
Yeah.
no, I mean,
Um,
actually, that reminds me of another lost video. Was the Stardew Valley video with Jade? That was completely lost
you have
because
a study buddy with Jade?
there was a Stardew Valley video that we did, but it was completely gone. I mean, I edited it to like 5 minutes, even though it was 2 hours, and the reason was because the audio was super delayed, like terribly delayed,
Oh.
that I could barely work with it. Like the editing, like it's
Hmm.
so back and forth because it's like me saying something and then like Jade responds like 10 minutes later or something. So it was impossible to edit. So I got 5 minutes and then left it at that. And then, but I just didn't care. I didn't feel like uploading it. Like there was no point.
Yeah.
But I want to do more long form stuff so badly. Like that's what I want the Call of Duty video to be kind of like longish.
Yeah. Whenever that will fucking happen again.
Or like I want to do like like when we bring back Minecraft SMP, like when that happens, when we do another one, I'm gonna do my hardest to replicate the style that Big Man SMP was. Not in terms of like the recording, but in terms of the editing, where it's gonna be simple and
Yeah.
just like clips basically.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
and
I did
that's
like the those things.
like
Just with the more less insensitive me.
with you not saying slurs that I have to censor with fart
Yeah.
sounds, and maybe I will actually
And
talk in most of the episodes.
yeah. There are times where I kind of just wish you're like somehow YouTube is just like, oh, you know what? Let's just delete all half of this man's videos from 2021. There's sometimes where I'm kind of like, I don't want this to be my legacy, but it's far too late.
There is one video idea that I've had for so long is to do a summoning salt parody of myself
No,
when I get world record in balloons. Like when that happens, I'm 100% doing
um,
that. It's gonna be like called the quest to beat Summer Pie, who is the current world record holder. I'm
right?
100% doing a summoning salt parody, which is like my journey to beat him or beat them. I don't know.
Do you think you could actually do it?
Well, the only idea I have is the thumbnail, but like even then, I mean replicating the video. I mean the thumbnail is I think the only thing that I'll be like replicating summoning salt. I think everything else would just be like a basic history of video, which I have experience with in the past.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Um. Uh. Uh. Um.
I want to hear your thoughts on so when Mario Wonder releases, and I'm obviously going to do streams on it. I have two ideas
Yeah.
for how to do videos on it, and it's one I do like my first reactions to the game and like playing the game or whatever, like however long the first stream
Like a,
goes for.
right. Yeah.
I do that for the main channel, and then every like thing else goes to the live channel, or I just do one big super cut of every of like beating the entire game for the main channel, and like but it's live stream highlight.
I think. I think people would less care about like first reaction to something to a smaller YouTuber
That's
that they
true
don't even
too.
know.
I
So I
already
think
know what the title for my Mario Wonder video is gonna be
yeah,
though,
yeah. So I think the go along form because I think that's like a little bit more interesting.
and it's more my style anyway.
Yeah,
Because I've
yeah.
always wanted to do supercuts, but we just never like have the stuff to do it because like Minecraft Ruby was like 24 hours long, and then Minecraft Gold was way too long to compile.
Yeah.
And then I've attempted to edit down all of Minecraft Gold into one. It's not possible by me.
Is your dog barking? What the
He's
fuck?
having nightmares.
I love when dogs do that. It's so funny.
Um, but yeah, I'm quite loud. Um,
Just yell at him and say, "Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare,
nightmare,
nightmare."
nightmare, nightmare, nightmare. And then I think there's so many ideas I have that just are unfeasible because like it's unrealistic for a smaller creator to do in terms of growing because like no one cares is the issue.
Yeah.
And I mean because my issue a lot with a lot of videos is like I know what I want the video to be, I just don't know how to word it in a title that makes sense,
Yeah.
which has always been an issue that I've had in terms of stuff like that. Is I just flat out
Yeah.
figure out a good way to word it. Which is why like I have some videos, like some of like the Almost series is literally just titled like Almost and then the game because I just can't think of a good title for it. Um, I think the Almost series is one of my favorites just because most of it is Roblox. Um,
No.
and I like
It's been a lot of Roblox recently.
because I like recreations of games on Roblox, especially with current day Roblox with how like good everyone is at making stuff. Like I have one,
Yeah, for some
I
reason.
found a Garden of Banban remake that I really want to do for a video just because it's funny. And you say what you will, but and I feel like opinion on Garden of Banban is it is the most, it's the best example of like, because there's a certain feeling that some games, like some indie games have, and that's like
Yeah.
I got better at level design as I was doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So like the first part of the game sucks and then it gets better as you go because it's clearly like they learned more throughout the process.
Yeah, I love
And
games.
I
I
think,
love
and
games
as
like that.
bad as Garden of Banban is, I think it's the greatest example of that. The greatest example of stuff like that to find would be Mario 64 ROM hacks.
Yeah.
there's so many like there's so many hacks where you can tell like
I
and
love I I love that kind of stuff because like like the typical industry, gaming stuff is like they've been doing this for years, and so they're just gonna follow the rules and do the basics with with like first level to end level, and pretty typical. But I like how when indie games or ROM hacks and whatnot, like they get gradually better because, well, the creator themselves got gradually better as well, and because it's an indie game and they're letting their ideas flow freely, it gets like gradually like crazier and cooler because like it's like, oh, what if I do this and this and this, because now I have the skill set to do that
yeah,
now.
like it's
I like how it just
one
gets like, yeah,
it's one thing to just learn everything right off the bat and then start working, which is probably like the better way to handle stuff. But there's such
yeah,
like a feel to games where like it's clear that they just went into it, and as they were creating certain like as they created like world 1 like the level design is like whatever, and world 2 it's a little bit like it slowly gets better, and it's just because they learned the tools as they went on, which is
yeah.
what's always so good about ROM hacking is stuff like that. Like, and also I also want to point out the ROM hacking video that we did a while ago popped off as well for some reason.
It did.
A little bit. I mean, it got like 90 views, which is better than
I didn't know
most.
that.
Me neither. It was really weird. I don't know why. It also has like a dislike on it for some reason, which always confused me because it always confuses me when my videos have dislikes. Because what could possibly be the matter?
I don't know.
Um, but and then yeah, so like for the like Mario and like breaking the rules of games is also what I'm excited for with Mario Wonder, because it's different from any
Yeah.
Mario Bros game we've ever seen. It's literally just and I sincerely think
It hurts.
it's gonna
Um,
change like Mario games for the future.
yeah, I hope so. I hope we get a new Donkey Kong bongos, Conga bongos.
I mean, I think a new Donkey Kong game is inevitable at this point. If they're willing to remake an SNES game, remake a GameCube game, make a new game from the ground up that's good, and make a new Peach game. Like there's no way they're not going to do Donkey Kong at this point.
Yeah.
Especially with putting him in Mario
Or,
movie was an interesting choice that clearly paid off because Seth Rogen is awesome.
or or they just completely remake and remaster the very first Mario game. And
Mario.
I'm not talking about Super Mario Bros. I'm talking about
Oh,
the Donkey Kong one.
that would honestly
The
that would
barrels,
go
yeah.
hard. I think that would go hard if they did it right. So get away with that too is the thing. And that's what's crazy is Nintendo literally they could just they could not re-release but remake like Mario 64 with Odyssey like graphics, and everyone would be okay with it.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue is
They think it's like genius and shit.
the issue is like with the core. I mean, clearly we obviously don't know how like the company side works, but there are so many things that I think they could just do but don't. And I hope that with Mario Wonder, because Mario Wonder is like number one, I'm pretty sure it's number one pre-ordered on Amazon right now,
Cool, everyone. Yeah.
which is insane to me. And I'm really hoping that really sets it in stone, like that really hammers it in that like we like new things. Please stop remaking the same games over and over.
Yes.
And I say
Like,
that
don't
as
get me
I'm
wrong.
playing New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe right now, but like at the same time,
Like, don't get me wrong. Remakes, like, and remaking games from the ground up again, like old classics. That's cool.
from remakes from the
But
ground up is I prefer that. Ports are what's weird to me. I don't like when it's just a
yeah,
port. Like if porting 3D World, that was all right because they attached a new
yeah,
game with it. They attached Bowser's Fury. That was cool.
yeah,
But like 3D All Stars was just kind of bad because they could have
yeah,
remastered it but chose not to.
yeah. Yeah. Sadly, um, I don't really mind remakes of games, but
Me neither.
it's kind of getting to the point where it's kind of like, dude, just make a new game, please. And even they're not even doing such a good job with remaking games either. Like the Life is Strange remaster came out a while, um, and it's just bad. It's like I would so much prefer the original game. Did the characters have on their faces have less emotion? Yeah, could have the mocap been way better? Yes. But it's kind of the voice acting, the dialogue, and the writing, and overall the kind of like the nice indie feeling of the game's graphics kind of are, because I think it's intentional. One of the game developers said that the the vibe of the graphics of the game was supposed to give the same feeling of like indie films like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Juno, and like films like that, because they do have a very indie type of feeling to it, and I think you're gonna agree with that as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Juno is
Um,
the prime example. And
huh?
Scott Pilgrim. Juno and Scott Pilgrim are great like indie examples, I think.
Yeah,
Like looking.
especially because Juno has songs from indie bands and also references an indie band, Sonic Youth. So
Yeah, they
yeah,
do twice. And then and then also just like the feel of it was very old school. And Scott
yeah,
Pilgrim, despite like, I think Scott Pilgrim is a great example as well. And speaking of Scott
yeah.
Pilgrim, anime is gonna go hard.
Oh yeah, that's gonna go so sick. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Um, and like the game had all this personality and an amazing story that like it wasn't just like catered to one specific audience. Like yeah, the game did have very much feminine undertones, and it was a very very girly game, but it was a story that anyone could follow. Like not like Life is Strange 2, because Strange 2, its story and message is all about what it means to be a man, but it's very like Andrew Tate like. It's very like that,
Yeah.
and like its core audience, like Life is Strange's too, like core audience is very different. Like it's very much like it's like Derek, but like if he didn't have all the IQ.
That makes perfect sense, I think.
It's like kind of like Derek, but like evil Derek. Like if just without like the mortality, without the IQ, without the basic thinking skills, basically evil Derek. Um, while Life is Strange's one core audience was like girls and like geeks and like Midwest like emo like type of dudes, like people who were really into indie and stuff. It's so like the core audiences are very different for those two different games. But anyways, but to my original point, Life is Strange 2 can only cater to a very specific audience. Life is Strange 1, while it's overall vibe, it caters it leans towards one audience, while its main story, its actual like important thing, it can go to anyone. It can appeal to anyone, unlike Real Life is Strange 2. So Life is Strange had all these things built up for it. All those game really needed to be pretty perfect was just better mocap and better graphics. And the remaster was supposed to be all that, but instead, graphics, they looked good in some scenes, and then other times they looked horrible. Like it looked bad. And then the lighting, I think the lighting was perfect on Life is Strange. Nothing needed to be fixed about the lighting in the game. But in the remastered, the lighting kind of makes it look like it was in its beta, like it was in its prototype era,
Yeah.
which is it's not what it's supposed to be. And yes, the facial expressions got better in the remaster, so I'll give it that. The facial expressions have a lot more emotions, something that the original game lacked of. But again, the voice acting really shined through on that game, so it kind of didn't matter. Um, and for some reason, the remaster just had a lot less detail. Like I don't know why, because like in Life is Strange in the original game, when you rewind, it feels like powerful. It feels like everything is moving with you. It feels like time is actually breezing through you. It actually feels like powerful, like you're actually controlling all of like space and time in your hands. Like, and it does this by shaking the screen and showing previous scenes, but like reverse shadows and reverse sound effects and whatnot. But in the remastered, it's just like still. Like no effects, it's just like still. You're simply just pressing a button. It doesn't feel like when you press this button, like you feel like a vibration through your like your skeleton. No, it simply feels like you're just pushing a button. Um,
Damn.
and it just had a lot less detail. Like even when you rewind, like every little thing that moves, it rewinds with you. But in the remaster, it's just stuck in place, which is not what rewind is.
I think
Um,
to like we were talking about like how YouTube how how the change of content. I feel like that applies to
yeah,
video games as well, where there seems to be like this general agreement that everything needs to be easier now, which I don't think is true.
I think so.
Which and it sucks that that's like the path that a lot of stuff goes down. Like with, and I know I complain about Minecraft all the time, but like they're changing so much of that to make like half the stuff on like basically like it's basically so simple now, which
Like half of the fun of old Minecraft was just kind of wandering around and like seeing what did what, and like being surprised and like the fun of it, just the unknown.
and I know there's the argument that like it's stupid to reminisce of old Minecraft when you can literally still play it, which is true. But like
I saw that tweet today.
yeah, but my most of my complaints don't come from that old Minecraft was better. They come from new Minecraft is just bad. Like I don't and I
It's just it's
and
just
I
the company generally fucking up.
and yeah, cause and especially with a lot of like and it's like I play old Minecraft. I know old Minecraft is better. I don't advocate for it being better. I just think new Minecraft could be good if they put effort into it. And like
Yeah,
in the and back to like games being made easier, like like there was that really bad era from Mario games where they were made baby easy, with like new super like I mean I guess Mario Wonder you can argue still has that with the easy modes, but even then like it's
yeah.
optional, and I'm glad it's optional because like when Mario
Thank God.
Wonder originally got announced there were press release that it was they actually had hard level design in it. And
Oh, thank God.
I want to point out in the direct for the game, there was one level specifically that got me excited, and I know it's not the hugest thing in the world, but for Nintendo it is. And it's there's one part where if you have a big if you're using a mushroom, you have to duck under blocks on a moving platform, which I don't think Nintendo themselves have done. Like it's always been like you no matter what we're gonna cater towards you, but like it's they actually made something
Yeah,
where you if you have a mushroom you have to like actually go out of your way to dodge a new issue that's here now because of this.
yeah,
And like
yeah.
I think Mario Maker 2 is another example of just Nintendo messing up, because literally infinite possibilities that were just wasted. And
Sadly,
I will always complain about that. And I do think there's possibilities of a Mario Maker 3 now, especially with Mario Wonder giving them so much possibilities.
yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
half of that just comes from I just want to make a Mario Wonder level. Like I don't even care if it's I don't care how.
um, what was the original thing? Oh yeah, games needing to be hard. I mean, not needing to be easy. Um, by the way, Mario Wonder, cool. Uh,
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hoping it's hard. Like I'm not I know like we know my luck with like games in general is awful, and that I'm genuinely
yeah,
bad, especially when streaming or recording, because I get a level of confidence that I shouldn't have. But I'm still excited. Like, nonetheless, like I'm excited to struggle in a Mario
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna
Um,
say?
I think like games, like I think they need to be challenging. Okay, good example. Silent Hill 2. Amazing story. Amazing story. But it's the puzzles that gets people like really agitated at times. Because if you don't know nothing about Japanese riddles, is that they're like the hardest thing to figure out. Um, and the puzzles in Silent Hill 2 are simply just mind numbing when you just have no clue what to do. Because Silent Hill 2, they kind of messed up at being way too vague. Of course, it's a horror game, so you have to kind of be vague to keep the mysteriousness. But it's far too vague to be mysterious. It's just straight up confusing.
I think that's a big issue in difficult games and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
there's some screens in Celeste where it's like I don't even know where to begin. It's not like I can't do it. Just I don't know
yeah,
what I'm supposed to try to do.
yeah. But when you actually do figure out, it's like the greatest feeling of all time. And not only do you just figure it out and you move along with the game, since this game has like 6 different endings and very interesting cutscenes and lore behind it, it's like it's kind of like the story that's like still like making you go through all this bullshit because it's kind of like what ending will I get or what's the story or what happens next. It's kind of it's like the story that keeps you
Invested.
going. So both it's like a fun hard game that makes your brain, it takes like your neurons to start thinking and like what do I do? But even through all that bullshit that it can be sometimes, it's like that story that keeps you going. So it's like we need hard games, but they can't just be hard to be hard, like we need like some other factors to keep us going too,
Like
not just like a good reward.
to speak
Because in
on
Silent Hill 2 there is, oh sorry.
like I say to speak on that, like I mentioned Celeste because that's like my favorite game in the world and it's also hard.
Mhm.
There was a Celeste ripoff that I played, and it's the perfect example of how not to make a game difficult. Because there's one screen in that game where you flat out just aren't your character goes behind a wall and you cannot see where the spikes are, and you're supposed to just navigate through
Yeah.
that without seeing. And it is like there's no hint. It's not like it's annoying hard. It's literally just obnoxious hard, where it's like it's
Mhm.
just hard to be hard. It's literally you threw that in so you could call it a Celeste game because I know Celeste is hard, so this must work.
Yeah. Yeah. um but like uh that's so fucking stupid.
I know. In my video about the game, I complain about that the entire time.
um
And that, oh, if you're, or
but
let me know when you're done because I have something else I wanted to mention.
yeah, but like like games just can't not be hard just to be hard. Like yeah, cool rewards, like you get some extra health and whatnot, but Silent Hill, it doesn't have that. It doesn't exactly have a reward system. Like you kind of just find bullets and health wherever you can find them. It's not like after like a really hard boss battle. All the boss battles are like enemies you find and kill. They just lead you deeper and deeper into this world of Silent Hill. So it's not, so it can't be just like, oh, I'm only continuing because I'm getting more health. It's only I'm continuing because I'm really actually genuinely invested in this story. And if you're not, then you're not playing the game. Goodbye then.
Yeah, I feel like
It's
that's
really
a
only the story that
really
keeps
hard
people
thing to
through
pull
that.
off is to keep someone invested despite their BS.
Yeah, and
Like
they perfected it, which is amazing.
I don't have many examples because my like games aren't too broad, but like there's games like Mario 64 which have like you can die to the most BS way possible, but still be okay because it's still an enjoyable game. Like even though the story isn't much, like I feel like in Mario 64 is still somehow the greatest game ever, and I will stand by that. Like, and it isn't even like
Mhm.
I know I have the nostalgia bias because it was the first game I've ever played, but it's also like the thing of
Right.
it's genuinely just not that bad of a game still. Like I still replay it for
Yeah.
fun. Like
Yeah, it's just kind of like a fun game, like
on my
speed run and blast
on
it.
my school laptop, I have a save of it that I've been like slowly 100%ing every now and then in a class. And
Mm-hmm.
it's obviously annoying because it's on keyboard, but like I still like even despite it being annoying on keyboard, it's still like I mean maybe that's just because like it's hard like the only game example I can think of recently that I've played that was like out of my comfort zone really was Stray, which isn't a bad game. It was clearly just like a word bait though. Like I feel like it was the most
That's
bait.
what they.
It was a word bait, like just bait to get best of the year
Oh,
because it had a cat in it
oh
and it
yeah.
was like the way it was made was they actually used like cat with mocap, I think, unless that was like a joke, but
Mm-hmm.
um like I think it was flat out just game of the year bait. I still enjoyed it. Like I mean I never finished it. I got to like the last part, but then the
Yeah.
thing was it's such a huge game that like whenever I opened it I had to really be in the mood to play it because it would take so long to load, and it got to a point where I was like I'm basically at the end and I don't want to commit this long to load a game. Um,
Yeah.
but the other thing I wanted to talk about was like indie games, how just in general, how they can be so easily
Yeah.
like crapped on just for the nature of being an indie game. Like Garden of Banban,
Especially when it has the fan bases it has,
I
it's
think
so hard
it's so
to
hard to defend, like
yeah.
especially like with Poppy Playtime or stuff like that, where it's clearly children. It like I've
Yeah.
never played it, but I'm sure it's not that bad of a game. I know the developers kind of suck and whatnot, but like I'm thinking of like Garden
Mm.
of Banban, where it's like the game is bad, like it's not a good game, but there is like
Yeah.
we mentioned it earlier how there is still charm to it.
Yeah.
Being that charm being the fact that you can tell at the end of at the end of Banban 4 it because at the end of each game it says like wishlist the sequel here. So like at the end of one it shows you the second game, at the end of two it shows you the third game, so on and so forth. At the end of 4 it shows you the sixth game for some reason. And I think I think that's exactly what Markiplier said though, how like it just there's something that adds to like the charm of just the fact that it's so like you can tell they cared, but like they like
Yeah.
you can tell there was a level of care, but not much of it in a weird way. Where
Yeah.
it's like there's clearly mistakes, there's soft locks, but like you can still there's somehow charm in the fact that it's you know. And like Celeste will obviously be forever my favorite game in the whole world. And I will support the developers no matter what because I love them all. Um, and I mostly like indie games, but I feel like so
Yeah.
much of them just get a bad rap so easily.
Sadly, yes.
Especially like
Going
yeah, go on.
going back to like Life is Strange, because it was released at a time in 2015, and if you know anything about 2015, like internet, like internet, like language, it was very cringe.
Oh, you're
It
right.
was
Yeah.
super cringe. But like, and people criticize that, but then again, it's just kind of like that's just how people talked in those days. So it's very like it's like actually accurate. Yeah, it's cringe, but like it's accurate to like what the people were at that time. It referenced old memes. It said some pretty bizarro language in those times, but no, but it's just kind of like it was just kind of like that at that time, you know. So it's like you can't really blame it for being accurate.
I
So,
think that's just
but I understand it's cringe, but like, dude, you have to like kind of admire how they were. It wasn't like old people like saying, like, oh my god, you guys have skibidi riches or anything. Like, like the developers were like 20 or like 19. It's like they were around that age to be saying that kind of stuff and seeing that kind of stuff. It's like, dude,
I think that's just the issue mostly with the references is that they become outdated. Like I know a huge tip in writing is not to reference things because it can clearly it can like really date what you write so easily if you like you reference like and I think the biggest example now would be referencing Twitter because it's no longer Twitter. So like it's now outdated, even though everyone still calls it Twitter. I'm sure eventually
Yeah,
there's gonna be there's a subset of people who call it X now, and so for them it being Twitter, it's gonna be outdated, and it's like this really weird thing where it's
yeah,
hard to even reference anything just because it's gonna be outdated no matter what.
yeah.
Like just in a couple of years
And
time.
also, also, just to defend life assurance once more,
Go on.
this is not the whole vocal point of the dialogue in the game. Only really happens when you speak to the other students in the game. But anyone else, they're not going to get any clue. But why are you playing Mario Kart?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. But yeah, there is another thing about the hard argument again. But like games, they can be hard, yes, but there's those rare cases where a game is stupidly easy. A 7-year-old could do it, but like again, it goes back to that story. It's still so good. It's still so well written. Where
There's
it's just kind of like I do not care if this game is so easy. The story is just simply amazing. It's kind of like watching like a movie rather than a game, but it's still like
Oh yeah, like
still good in
there's
that right.
there's so many movies I've just rewatched. Like, and I with shows I can't rewatch shows. I'm bad at rewatching shows just because I know what happens. But with movies, for some reason, I'm better at it. Like there are some movies I will rewatch forever, just cause, like
Yeah,
like because I just love how like Mario movies, the prime example. I feel like that there's a little bit of biasy there though. But then
yeah,
there's like Nobody, which is just a movie I like, or Barbie movie, which is just a great movie that I think deserves to be seen a bunch of times and deserves
yeah.
to like have over $1 billion made, especially that being the first time it's been done by a sole female director. Oh, also since we talked about Barbie movie a while ago, my I'm really upset about the fact that like Mattel sees it as, oh, people like when products are turned into movies and not people like when we make a unique and good story about something.
Yeah, yeah.
And
God.
since we're talking about movies, I did want to bring up the writer strike. Um just because I saw that there was this recent thing about Aaron Paul that came out where he was like Breaking Bad is like on Netflix. I'd make not a single penny from that, and
So,
which really sucks that because like, and then there was so you know how Twitter has the community notes now,
yeah,
and how many times I praise it as the greatest feature on the app. Um,
yeah.
they took their first L when they added. I'll try to find it. They added a note which was like something how like Netflix doesn't own Breaking Bad, so they obviously didn't pay Aaron Paul for it. But the point wasn't,
Mm,
which wasn't the point. The point was his work, Aaron Paul's work, is still being viewed and is still making Netflix money, in turn making AMC money, and Aaron Paul himself is not receiving any of that, which is fair. I think streaming services definitely need to pay. I think there needs to be like a new sense of like what like who gets paid for what. Like I think um they should get paid for their stuff being viewed on a streaming service.
yeah,
Like, but
yeah.
what
Because it's like, yeah, you're
sucks,
providing it,
and it,
but you're not making it. You know?
yeah, it being like a one-time payment is terrible in my opinion, especially because it's gonna continue to make
Yeah,
companies money for years to come. And I think the worst thing
yeah,
about it is it's so hard to realistically keep track of, if you really think about it, like how to realistically pay that out. I mean, I'm sure it's a massive company, they can figure it out, but at the same like, and obviously I don't feel bad for them, like, oh, that's so much hard work to pay people. It's just like
yeah.
sounds unfeasible to me, but I'm sure it's possible, and there's no reason not to do it other than greed.
Yeah.
Especially for something like Breaking
Something ought
Bad.
to change. Yeah, which is like probably like one of like the most watched shows on
They
that entire streaming
It's
service.
on entirety of Netflix, yeah, because they lost The Office, which I think previously was what they had.
Oh yeah.
They lost The Office to
So
Peacock.
they have,
And then I think Breaking Bad is leaving Netflix soon anyway. Like, Netflix is genuinely falling off, which I think is good, honestly. Netflix does suck.
yeah, yeah. Isn't the Scott Pilgrim anime just going to be on Netflix, or will it go to other streaming
It's
services? Because
funded by Netflix, so I think it's a Netflix like original, so it's probably gonna be Netflix. Of course, you and I will use other methods.
yeah,
I'm sure Jade will be the only one watching on Netflix. I will use other methods happily, instead of using Netflix, because I
yeah.
will take any, even though I
I
have
don't really
access.
want to support Netflix.
And then like, yeah, and like hate watching is also a really weird concept in my opinion, just because of the fact that it still like supports them, unless you use a pirated service, of course.
Yeah,
Like there was the whole Dahmer show, which I still think is absurd to exist, but like then hate watching
yeah.
that,
I feel
obviously.
like it's
Still,
only there to romanticize.
I know the romanticize, but just to keep like bringing it up and not just let it die out.
Yeah, because like the families still face a lot of trauma, and then
And
you're
have
now,
and
and now
weren't like
you're
they weren't even, and
realistically,
it's that, and like they were portrayed in the show but were not asked permission at all.
yeah, and also portraying like also realistically redoing all of that. Like this, have you seen like the scene by scene like comparisons of like the actual court footage, and then
I
to
think I
like
have, yeah.
it's like it's very well done, but like that's not good for someone with that kind
I
of
don't, yeah,
trauma.
it's like
You can't
it's accurate in the worst way possible, where it's accurate to where
yeah,
it could basically be them reliving it. And it sucks that they
yeah,
were just
basically, yeah,
so easily allowed to get away with that. Like they faced basically nothing for doing that.
yeah. Oh my god.
I do, but yeah, I think like
Like the scene, like don't get me wrong, like the actor for the woman, like she did a really good job,
I'm like, yeah, it
and
sucks that
but
the
like
actors
in
were
the actual,
so good.
like that,
Just from
yeah,
scenes I've seen,
but
like
like in the
I've
actual,
refused to watch the show no matter what, just for very obvious
yeah,
reasons. But I've seen clips just forcefully, and it looks well made, which sucks, especially for Netflix, who usually don't make things good. And they chose this. This is what we're gonna
yeah,
actually work on.
yeah, but like what I was gonna say is like yeah, she did an amazing job, so I'm not gonna like
Oh yeah,
blame her or
that's not
anything, but
her
like
fault at all.
like
Like
there's like
the actors, I don't
actual,
think they're at fault at all.
yeah,
I think they're even
yeah,
in a
no,
sense
um,
the main actor for Jeffrey Dahmer might not even be at fault either. It just, I mean, it
yeah,
just depends, I think, on like how much involvement he had, because
yeah,
like lead actors can have a ton of involvement. Like Breaking Bad being
yeah,
like Bryan Cranston, anything he does, he like contributes to it as much as he can. Like there
yeah,
was one movie he was in, because like
um,
whenever he does something, Bryan Cranston will always like have an idea for something to do with his character, and like that's just what he's known for basically. And there was one movie he was on where he's like, I have
uh,
an idea, and like the director got so excited to hear what it was, because like that was what they were basically waiting for, was like the Bryan Cranston idea, and it was a really cool idea, but they couldn't do it realistically.
mhm,
It was like his character was the
yeah,
character he was playing was one armed, and he wanted to do a scene where like he practiced everything, where he's
mhm,
like opened a thing of tea and like put it in the cup and stirred it all with one
mhm,
hand, just in the background. But the issue was like the only scene Bryan Cranston appears in is in like this huge sense of emergency, so it just wouldn't have made sense.
but
But
then,
yeah.
mhm.
But I do think we are,
Let's see.
what?
Mhm.
I was gonna say I do think,
Oh,
okay.
I mean, you want me to finish her? Sorry.
I was gonna say I do think we are like in a resurgence of everything kind of coming back to normal. Like we're getting like a
I
good
hope
Sonic
so.
game, good Mario game, good TV. Like we're getting Scott Pilgrim anime. Um, like
Mm-hmm.
good shows. Like we have Barry, which was
Good
really
movie.
good. We obviously have like the issue with AI and all that, like trying to like because it's obviously like companies will do anything to not spend money. So that's the huge issue that we have going on. But
Yeah.
then there's like we still
Like it's kind of like the entirety of humanity in our hands. So we quite literally are gonna have no choice but like to can it for as long as possible because we just cannot let this
yeah,
thing keep
so
growing.
many things, like so many shows I care about are being delayed, which I'm glad like for this cause, but it is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like realistically think about.
But I hope it will work.
I hope because like I saw like they were like the only thing like actors were just asking for like like the stuff or and writers the stuff they were asking for like in total of like a yearly
Mhm.
salary of what like the company gets would have been like 0.8% of
Mhm.
their total, and like that was it,
Mhm.
and they won't give that or something like that. I could be like a little bit off, but
Mhm.
which is bananas to me that like that's even an issue at all.
Yeah. Like you're a pretty big company. You're one of the biggest companies in the world. I think you have enough money to fairly
Or like
pay.
that even it needs to be like an argument that they should be paid for their work.
Yeah, because you guys, at the end of the day, you guys are just the providers.
And
They're out there actually
it
doing
is
all of the fucking
genuinely the
work while you're
actors
sitting
and
back doing
writers that
cocaine.
carry everything that is ever done.
Yeah,
And I know there's always going to be some people who are like actors are like rich. It doesn't matter. I don't think it's even more about the actors getting paid more. I think they're just fighting for the writers mostly. Like of course the
yeah,
actors do need to be paid more for like their work after it's on a streaming service, which I agree with completely. But
yeah,
like it's also mostly fighting for the writers' rights,
yeah.
which sucks that is even a fight that needs to happen, and that it's
Bro,
taken
there's
like,
so many stupid fights that's going on right now that should just not be a problem at
and
all. And
especially that it's been going
I
on
just
for a
don't know how to feel
month. Like
about
it's
that.
been going on for this long is insane to me,
Yeah,
and it's the worst.
man. Yeah,
But yeah, like Stranger,
yeah.
like
Which just,
like there's like my favorite show in the whole world. The movie for the show is being delayed for obvious reasons, and it really sucks because
uh,
I've looked forward to that for years, and I'm just like, if it gets delayed so long, like there's like the chance it gets completely canned, which would be terrible, but also like the rights. And then there's like obviously like
yeah,
the whole issue with people who are still promoting movies and making movies despite all of this.
yeah.
But video gaming is going well though.
Just video games going
Well,
on,
no,
yeah.
Charles Martinet did
All I'm
is no
hoping.
longer Mario.
Oh yeah.
I do
I
think
mean, he's been Mario for like
it's been
quite literally
30.
40
It's
years.
yeah, it's somewhere around that ballpark. But I do know like the voice actor for Mario sounds perfect, I think, in Mario Wonder. It didn't sound that bad. And like Luigi sounds perfect
So
in
yeah, no,
Mario.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we have no complaint to do on that front.
And I complain about a lot, so
Yeah,
this is impressive. I
yeah.
think the fact that
There's a lot to complain about.
Nintendo can make a game that I'm going to put work into, and also that I am complimenting with no complaints is insane. I will say, actually, I took to fit the theme of me complaining over everything. I do think instead of having four, I think they could have kept four Yoshis. That's fine. I think Birdo should have been added as a normal mode
Yeah.
character. Birdo should have been a thing that's not easy mode. And leave the four Yoshis as baby mode, sure, but add Birdo as not easy mode. I think would have been cool.
Mm. um, yeah.
And then yeah, like
Okay.
we're
So,
slowly
oh,
in a resurgence, I
anyway.
think.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm mostly more excited about the Princess Peach one. Again,
Peach game
um,
is definitely going to be hype. It just depends on what they do. Because so far it looks like a 2D platformer, but which isn't bad. Like if it's good, then that'll be hype. If
yeah,
it's good and like kind of fits the same,
yeah, but I think it'll probably be more story based.
I think I'm excited for it just because of the fact that Peach's hair is short in it, which really makes me think it's like a origin story,
Yeah,
which is hype because I actually like Mario lore, and like they never actually do lore for Mario.
yeah,
The only lore we got was like everything that
yeah,
we basically got retconned in like the movie because like half the movie didn't fit with like the actual lore we know,
yeah.
which is funny, but at the same time, like, come on, man. Oh, and Five Nights at Freddy's movie
Come
is
on, man, we need
hype.
more lore.
Can't believe we didn't talk
I'm
about
gonna be honest.
FNAF movie.
I've been holding this back for the longest time, but uh, I'm not excited for this movie.
It's
I've been
honestly,
holding this back.
it's honestly gonna be very hit or miss. It really just depends on if they can do it right. Because I
Yeah,
have seen that like it just depends like because the issue is they need to create a movie that you can watch without being a fan already. That is the biggest issue, and that's
yeah,
really hard to do with a franchise like FNAF, which has like this huge lore aspect to it that you need to understand. So like,
yeah,
but so far from like but the issue is with the trailers, it feels very catered to FNAF fans. Um, and I and I
yeah.
and I
Because
wish.
like because the oh sorry.
No, I don't even know what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. But because like the reason why the Mario movie worked so well is because all you really needed to know was mushroom make Mario big, Mario go through pipe, Mario Super Mario. You know, like if you just knew the basics of Mario, you could easily enjoy this movie.
That reminds me. That
And this
reminds me.
movie and
I just want to mention. I just
Mario
want to
as a
mention. Hey,
game.
hey. I want to mention. The reason the Sonic movie worked as well is because Sonic has no lore. There's never been no. At least like no one knows the
Yeah,
lore
you
to
know,
it. It's never made sense. Like they've made like 6 different plot lines that like they could do. They literally did whatever they wanted with the movie, and it worked. And I will say really
yeah,
quickly, I know this is off topic, but Mario movie or Sonic movie 2, they did the perfect Knuckles. Like they had Knuckles like the perfect version. Because Knuckles like is usually like like portrayed as dumb, but the movie actually did it perfectly where he's
mhm,
just naive. Like he's not stupid. He's just
yeah,
naive and believes things easily, but he's not an idiot like Sonic Boom has him. Even though Sonic Boom Knuckles is really funny, but
yeah.
Sonic movie Knuckles is
It's
like
really funny.
is really good. And I think the best version of Knuckles.
It's probably the most accurate one we've got yet.
Yeah, it's like the actual like it's the most cared for, I think. Like they actually cared about how they treated this character.
Yeah,
Anyway, back to what you were saying about
which
Mario
is
movie.
rare in a lot of the adaptations because a lot of adaptations seem like it's a lot of people that's working there that like are looking at the surface level
Yeah, they look at like
or just straight up just don't know.
yeah, they look at basically like
Yeah,
one form of the media and like go from that, basically.
yeah.
But what were you saying
Which is
about Mario?
actually in the new Spider-Verse movie. My brother, he fucking loves the Spider-Man comics, and Ben Riley is in one of the scenes,
Yeah, he's
and in the movie he's portrayed as like really emo and like so not serious. But if you look at Ben Riley in the comics, and I've actually my brother told me this, I actually searched this up and read it. He's traumatized, dude. He's one disturbed individual, and his story is ooh,
I
it's
do think
heavy.
it's insane
But in the
for like Spider Verse. I think it's
mm,
insane how like from what I understand, almost like every Spider-Man in there is like based off a real comic. When it would have been so easy to just make some up
Yeah,
along the way, but like I don't think they did that for the
yeah,
most part. Anyway,
yeah. But back to my Mario movie thing.
yeah,
Like that's why, and plus also, if you knew a little bit about Mario, you kind of knew everything. And the lore of Mario, it's kind of like it's not like it's there, but like only if you really want it to be there. If you're just there to enjoy the games, it's just that because like the base of Mario games was just to have fun. It wasn't really to like tell like a message or a very compelling story. It's just there to have a fun game. It's just a really fun game, really fun to blast to. And that's exactly what the movie was. It was a fun movie to watch. It was a fun movie to blast to.
yeah. It was literally
It's
just a
very
90
faithful to
minute.
the
It was
games.
just a 90-minute circle jerk in the best way possible.
Yeah, yeah. So like, it's very faithful to the games. But FNAF, it's a lot more complex. Yeah, there's the game, but the lore is extremely important because the lore has all of its fingerprints on the game just through like the phone guy calls or little tidbits of like news articles. The lore is the forefront of the game, whether you like it or not.
I think the hardest part about
So
like a FNAF movie, is it is impossible to please FNAF fans. Like no matter what, they're gonna mess up, and that's
yeah,
just of the fact. And that's just like
yeah,
because of how because you can't do everything perfectly like that. It's not going to be possible for them to perfectly portray every single thing, and like they've already made mistakes. Like from what we know, I believe like for some reason there's a girl who works as security has blonde hair and is named Vanessa, who is completely unrelated to the Vanessa we have in the games, who is blonde hair and a security guard, which is stupid. And that's like an issue like where like they need to do it perfect, and that's just not possible, especially with FNAF.
yeah.
Like I think they're doing a good job in terms of like pleasing the fans, but if you're like, I don't think that's good. I think there needs to be like it needs to be its own thing as well, and that is the
Yeah.
only way you could truly make a good adaptation, is let it be its own thing while obviously taking from the source material. Because if it's its own thing, then
Yeah.
like someone could enjoy the movies and not the games, which is mostly the case. Because a lot of people don't like the games because they just aren't
Mm,
most. They really aren't good games, really. Hot take,
mm.
but
They're very bare bones. Yeah.
I think, and especially with like the how recent FNAF, like I know Ruin was a great DLC for Security Breach, even if Security Breach was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Um,
Very disappointing.
but I mean, from what we've seen, it's a 3 hour movie. So I mean, like they can't. Surely they. I think there's chance for it to be good. Like obviously, I'm still gonna second guess everything because it's like questionable. But
Yeah.
and then there's
Yeah,
also
but
gonna. It's
FNAF
also.
movie as of right now of not being released.
Huh? I think as of now, current rating is like it's questionable. Just really depends.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they can do it. It just depends on if they do it.
My biggest pet peeve is that Michael's not purple, bruh.
I think I'm glad.
Where's purple guy?
I like the casting so far. I think Matthew Lillard is a really funny choice, but works so well somehow. Like no, I think if you told a FNAF fan like 7 years ago that Matthew Lillard would be in, because like how long has the movie been in development? If you told someone that like yeah Matthew Lillard is gonna be Purple Guy, no one, it would have been like that would be really funny. But it's like yeah, he is a good actor. I'm pretty sure, and I'm really hoping like he's not underused in this movie, because like that's what Mario movie had the issue of, is a lot of people were just underused. Like you barely heard Luigi's voice, despite it being voiced by Charlie Day, who was like perfect for Luigi.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more of Luigi, just to kind of see what he's going through, because you can see, because like it's very like shadowed, like oh yeah, Luigi's kind of bad realm, but watch Mario live his best life.
But I mean, to be fair, that is like just how you develop a story. Like you know what's going on with Luigi. You don't need constant updates on it. But my thing is, there was this. I think I mentioned this a really long time ago. There was a tweet which was like a thread about how they should have made it where Mario's dad got kidnapped instead. So you had both Mario and Luigi the whole time trying to save him. That would have, I think, worked a lot better and actually like given both actors their chance to shine.
Grants. Yep.
But like for what it stands as a Nintendo movie, I never expected half the stuff that the movie had. Like there being a genuine like threat for Luigi, like a part where you genuinely think he could just actually die. Like I'm glad they didn't do like generic children's movie thing and it was like the lava burnt through the cage, but it's not gonna matter. Like the cage actually like got burnt and melted and Luigi was genuinely in danger. Like there was actually a sense of danger.
Yeah,
And then
which is
there was obviously like things that shocked me in theaters where Bowser line for line says I'm gonna
yep.
kill his brother. I never in a million years thought a Nintendo Illumination movie would just be so straightforward about murder.
My eyes widen. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, same because it's such like like obviously like I know it's not insane because I know kids movies are crazy nowadays, but like I would have like from Nintendo, especially in that era, because that was before. Like I think now that would be more expected, but like but pre Mario movie was a different Nintendo, and then post Mario movie they changed, man. They, they changed. But I'm excited for the future of like everything. Like I think movies and TV is getting better. Um, I think what is going on over there, bud?
Yeah, take off. Me?
I think video games are having a good like I'm like especially that Sega is able to do a good
Oh,
Sonic game, especially with Sonic fans being the most pickiest people in the world, and them making a good Sonic game is insane.
Sonic fans. Sonic fans. I don't even think they're like picky. I think they're just kind of like they just don't know what they want.
That is, I
They
mean, I
just
think
don't
that's
know
that's
what
the
they
same with
want. And I
Pokemon
think that's it.
fans mostly, because there was like I think they remade a Pokemon game that everyone wanted, and everyone's like, this is stupid, and it's like, but everyone asked for this ever. What do you mean?
Dude, what? I was not expecting that because Pokemon fans, from my experiences, like they're pleased by anything,
I think that's just
anything.
Nintendo fans, honestly. Nintendo can do any. Nintendo can kill their
I mean,
family,
yeah,
and they'd be like, dude, as long as it's like, as long as this is how it was when they were a kid, they're gonna be happy.
sure,
There
yeah.
was one simple flip.
Because I mean, yeah, you're right.
There was this
Nintendo,
one
Nintendo's kind of like Nintendo.
there was this one bit in a simple flip video where he was playing Tetris, and he's like, I will never play original Tetris because it's basically like stabbing yourself in the back while your family's tied up. And he goes, well, as long as it's how it's like when you were a kid, then Tetris fans will love it. Something like that, which I think is the best way to
Okay,
describe Tetris fans, or just really anything.
amazing. Yeah.
But dude, Mario Wonder is gonna change like 2D Mario forever. I'm hoping this isn't a one-off thing. I'm
It's gonna change the world.
and maybe I know I keep coming back to it, but like, dude, it's actually like insane that Nintendo like to really think about what Nintendo have done in the past 7 years, which rhymes with not porting not or which rhymes with not releasing a Mario game. Like they actually like it's insane. Because the last Mario game before this was Odyssey.
Oh yeah, which I'm still waiting for a sequel for it.
I think they might do it now. Like anything, like I genuinely mean this. We are in a state where anything is possible from Nintendo,
Yeah.
and that's not even me like being
Um.
optimistic. It's just genuinely anything is possible.
Yeah, but I feel like before this next generation, I think we've got Tears of Kingdoms now, and we can see that that game has gone some bad performances, and
I
like
thought
sometimes
I
that
thought
game gets
TOTK
laggy. So
TOTK
now I'm
was
not saying
well received. I thought.
yeah, no. Like I'm saying like the gameplay sometimes like it could get very laggy, like game performance wise. Like
I'm telling you,
sometimes it
man,
could like
they need to make a new console that is the same hardware as the
yeah.
Switch, but isn't made to be portable. They need to just make a home console. That, but I want it
Exactly.
to be a
Yeah.
version of the Switch, just because I want to keep all the Switch games. I don't want to pay all these money again. I mean, there's been rumors of a Switch 2. There's been rumors of a Switch 2, and I'm like the rumors of like usually the rumors like it's happening and then that's it. But the rumors like this time they've like really expanded. Like they've been going on for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I was saying, like yeah. Before this generation starts, like we need a new console badly, dude.
It literally they have to. I mean, like from what I've read, the best new console we're gonna get from a next like a Switch 2 would be up to par with PS4 graphics or like PS4 hardware, which isn't even that bad.
Yeah.
Like I know PS4 is kind of old, but like it's still better than the Switch as like a as
I
hardware wise,
mean,
not as a
yeah.
console,
I
but
mean
like
that thing
hardware
can
wise.
run. Yeah, like that thing can run God of War. So like, yeah, it's good. So
I think honestly, just make it. But like my biggest concern is that they'll just make a brand new console. I don't want that. I want another thing in the Switch family. Just don't make it a Switch. You know, like don't make it portable.
yeah.
No one cares.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, Mario Wonder. If they like oh, dude, I'm just trying to like imagine a universe where we get like a Mario Wonder sequel or something. Like how insane that would be.
Wait, what happened?
I'm just trying to imagine how insane a universe will we got like where we get a Mario Wonder sequel is.
Sequels.
Because like we've never gotten sequels to Mario games, and I've said this forever. Like the last time a Mario game had ever gotten a sequel was Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, basically. Or Bowser's Fury for 3D World.
Yeah.
But like
Those, those games are
Splatoon has three different games. Pikmin has four, and then
whatever.
Zelda has two. I really think it's time for an Odyssey 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, and one thing I want to say about Mario
Hey,
Wonder.
Odyssey.
Oh, you go first.
Whoa, that was a good game. Like, whoa, was that so fucking new? That shit was crazy,
It was
bro.
so good. But speaking on Mario Wonder, I think I've had this theory for a while that straight up they've had that game ready for a while. I think it's just been sitting there
Yeah.
because when they announced it, that release date was really close. Like I like for a game
Yeah.
like that, there's no way it took like I'm like they've had that for a while. I think they were they only announced it because they were at a state where they could take a risk with Mario movie. Like I sincerely
Yeah.
believe this to be the reasoning. And I mean,
Thank you, Nintendo, for plus
and I'm excited. Like
can't wait to
honestly,
first got the Waz's opinions on these games.
yeah, yeah, that's actually gonna be sick. I'm just like excited for like the general like I mean I'm gonna love Mario Wonder no matter what, like just because of the novelty of it.
Yeah.
Like you make a good game, I'm gonna enjoy it. Like that's just the thing. And
Yeah,
I've
can't
said
wait for
this.
the Slovene. years in Nintendo Switch when those games comes out.
I didn't he say like he was done with the years of Nintendo Switch videos?
Oh, did he? Oh man, that sucks.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did do just a video on Mario Wonder though, because like that's I'm so
Yeah.
impressed. Like I know it's not the biggest feat in the world, but for Nintendo, from what we've seen from them, for them to actually put personality into a video game
Ooh.
is insane. Like that needs to be like stated.
Yeah.
Like there's Mario U Deluxe, which was just a port which is a watered down port at that. They made it worse. And then
Which is for some reason Isaac's favorite too.
he likes Mario
Um,
U, which I think Mario U, I think it's fair to like. There's just a thing against Mario U Deluxe because it's just a really bad port. Like liking Mario U is
yeah.
fine because it's not in it of itself isn't a bad game. The port is terrible just because of the nature of it being a port. And I think that was I honestly I think we're now at a state where Nintendo are gonna make new Switch games. I think this is like the beginning of the Switch basically. You know what I mean by that? Is like
Finally.
I've been saying for a while that I think they're trying to make the Switch like the console. Like you can already play it, the N64 library, the SNES, the Game Boy, the Sega Genesis, like all those libraries. You can play those on it. You have all four Pikmin games on it. You have I think you have. I don't think you have Pikmin. I don't think you have Splatoon 1. But you have Splatoon 2 and 3. You have the Zelda. You have like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. You have basically every Mario, like you have a version of every Mario game. Like you have not Mario Strikers, but you have oh no, you have Mario Strikers, you have Mario Golf. Like you basically have it is the Nintendo machine, and I think now that it's at that state, they're gonna now start new things. Like it's a new era of the Switch, I think.
So sick.
Anyway, I kind of
Because
want
they're finally doing make you do something with the Switch after like 5 years or something.
basically that's what it feels like. Um.
Yeah.
Anyway, Raymond, I kind of want to go to bed.
All right. Fair enough.